Let's welcome back to Fusion YGO. It is your boy Christian the Haver Cardman, and today we are bringing you some must-know combos for Rescue Ace post-Duelist Nexus. This deck actually got so much more insane, way more consistent, way more powerful. It's still not quite the best deck going second, but it is still able to break some boards and be able to do some things. So I'm just going to show you a couple of quick combos just to get your resources established, especially for going first, just so you can get kind of a feel for how the deck plays. A lot of these are 1 to 2 card combos, and then everything else that you have in your hand is just completely bonus. So let's go ahead and hop in today. All right, so this combo just involves Airlifter. This is now the best combo starter in your entire deck. Of course, if you have other stuff in your hand, this gets a lot easier and a lot better. But with the release of Emergency, this is just insane. So we're going to start off by normal summoning the Airlifter here and using his effect to search for a Rescue Ace spell. It used to be searching for the field spell, but now we have a much better target in our Emergency. So we're going to go ahead and add that to hand here. And then we're going to shotgun it right away to go ahead and summon from deck here. We are actually going to summon the Rescue Ace Hydrant from deck and then tribute off our Airlifter per Emergency's text. So then now after that, we can use Hydrant's effect here to be able to search our deck for a monster. We're going to go ahead and search for our Rescue Ace Turbulence. We'll add that to hand. And then we will banish both of our Rescue Ace cards in graveyard here. Yes, it does kind of suck to get rid of the Emergency, but we have ways around that. And then now we'll be able to special summon our Turbulence out here. Use his effect to set 4 back row. Our 4 picks here are honestly going to be, it just depends on the situation that you're in. If you know that like 1 to 2 disruptions is enough going against another deck, or if you have hand traps that you don't really need the back row as much, you can avoid going for as much disruption. You can just go for either contain or extinguish, whichever one's better in the matchup, or just depending on whatever you have in hand. So then we can go, it really doesn't matter too much. The one that we really need here is actually going to be the alert, and we'll go over that in just a second here. So then we're just going to go, in this case, we're just going to assume we just want the most disruption, and then we might already have follow-up in hand. So we're just going to do all this. And then, of course, reinforce is also a way to help protect our stuff to make sure that it survives. So that's totally good there. We'll go and set all of these really quick. And then we're actually just going to activate the alert right away. Since we control Hydrant on field, he will allow us to activate one of these spells and traps the turn it was set, thanks to his effect. And then since we have Hydrant on field, we are actually able to add a Rescue Ace monster from our deck to our hand here. So we basically get another Rhoda, which will allow us to go for the brand new Rescue Ace Preventer here. So now we will send alert to the grave, and then now due to Preventer, we can actually banish the alert to be able to special summon himself. So now you're ending on a field of at minimum 2 disruptions in the back row, a Book of Moon on the Preventer. If your opponent destroys any of your cards other than Turbulence, you're able to target a card they control and destroy it for a little bit of retaliation. You have Hydrant on field, so your back row has all of their bonus effects, which is a reason why in some cases you might consider, instead of reinforce, going for the rescue, because then you can use that as an extra disruption. If your opponent's playing a deck where they need to bring things back out of their graveyard and they target for it, you can just steal their target out before they're able to do anything with it, and then you have an extra body on your field. So this is off of just 1 card. You go +5. It's super free, super easy, and then once again, whatever else you have in hand is just completely bonus. So let's go ahead and open up the next combo here and check it out. All right, so this combo is a 1.5 card combo. Basically, you just need Emergency and then any Rescue Ace name in hand. Your Airlifter or your Hydrant are going to be the best options because they allow you to search stuff from the deck, but it can really be any name so that you're a little less bricked up if you draw like your Turbulence, Fire Engine, Fire Attack, or any of that stuff, or even the Preventer. So this kind of just allows you to be able to still go off here. So this is like the easiest combo. It's probably about as consistent as the Airlifter one because you are running so many Rescue Ace names, but this one doesn't really end up on as strong of a board as just the Airlifter. So we're just gonna go ahead and start off here with our Emergency to be able to special summon, and really you can just go for a ton of easy stuff here. In this case, you're probably still gonna want to go for the Hydrant here, be able to special summon himself out and then tribute the card in your hand, which in this case once again was the Preventer, but since we don't have any Rescue Ace cards or monsters banished, we don't get anything off of it, so it's just kind of dead. But now we can activate the Hydrant here, declare his effect to be able to go ahead and add the Turbulence to hand, and then use his effect here to banish these 2 cards, and then special summon him out in defense, use his effect to set your 4 back row, and then you basically end up in the same place that you did before because you still want to add the alert to be able to search the other Preventer. Most builds you're probably going to be seeing either 2 or 1 copy. I don't think 3 is at all going to be necessary, but Preventer is an insane card. So in that way you can get a Preventer online, and I'll just show you the end board again real quick. All right, so this is once again basically the end board that you're looking at off of just a 1.5 card combo here. Literally just emergency, and then any rescue ace monster name will still get you to this board of your 3 back row, your preventer, which is a Book of Moon, turbulence, and then hydrant to make your back row get its extra effects. Once again, the back row that you select is totally malleable depending on what you need. If you have enough disruption in hand, you can kind of cut back on those a little bit and go for more follow-up. If you have follow-up in hand, you can go for more disruption. So it's totally up to you on the way that you do that. That is the nice part about this deck, is that it is super flexible and is just able to do all sorts of crazy things. Even emergency is a great set off of turbulence, because you can have it for your opponent's turn to dodge interaction. Like if they try to do something to any of your monsters, then you can just tag it out for something else instead, like an Airlifter to get another search, or even go for an impulse to be able to float into something else from your deck, or you can even just go into straight into whatever else you're going to float into, like a fire engine or something like that, get even more bodies and just pop off like crazy. There is a ton of potential for this deck, and I think people really do need to start messing around with it a bit more, because there is just so many insane things you can do. All right, so now we're going to operate a quick test hand just to kind of show you guys how I would actually play this deck out in a game. I do have a couple replays as well that I'm going to show off in a separate video, just so you guys can see the deck's interactions with other decks. So this hand, this is one of those cases where we would just start off with emergency. Of course, this is actually not a bad going second hand, since you have impulse, which can get you either hydrant or Airlifter, whichever one you think would be better. I think in this case, it probably would be better to go for the hydrant, since you already have the emergency in hand. But as a going first hand, this is not bad either. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with our emergency here, just like normal. Gonna go ahead, and this is actually just kind of like one of those standard combos here. So we're gonna summon the hydrant, tribute off the impulse in our hand here, get rid of him, and then use our hydrant's effect to be able to search the deck. We could actually go for a couple different options here, but turbulence is still going to be the best, just because we don't have any extra ways to get into them, unless we were to summon or add an Airlifter to our hand, use a normal summon, and then grab an emergency to be able to get into turbulence on our opponent's turn. But at that point, it's kind of dead, so it's just better not to. So now at this point, we'll go ahead and banish these 2 cards once again to be able to summon our turbulence out in defense, use his effect here to get our 4 back row. We already drew contain, so we don't need to worry about that, which is kind of nice. So basically we can just go for alert here. We can go for emergency for the follow-up. Of course, we still want our extra stuff, so reinforce for our protection, and then we'll get extinguished for our extra disruption. Of course, before I activate turbulence effect, I would probably prefer to activate my Lord of the Heavenly Prison, just to make sure that there's nothing they can do to pop any of this back row for whatever reason. So we'll go ahead and set all these. Of course, we're just going to activate the alert right away, since emergency is a once per turn, and alert's better in this case anyways. So then now we can go grab our preventer here to the hand. So actually, I just had to rewind a little bit, because I realized that instead of going for emergency in this situation, you're actually probably better off going for the rescue, since you're getting to your preventer. So in the best case scenario with this hand, what you want to do, once again, since you search the preventer, is now you're going to want to link these 2 off here, so that now you can go into your IP Masquerena, and then you can actually now banish the turbulence from your grave to be able to summon out this preventer here. So that now if this preventer leaves the field, you can actually tag back out into the turbulence, which is just insane. And then if they ended up destroying your preventer, then yeah, it's just insanely free. Once again, of course, we have the Lord of the Heavenly Prison revealed here. And now we actually have 5 Rescue Ace cards in our graveyard and banished. I still don't think I'd want to activate the HQ right now, though. Once again, since we have the rescue, we'll use that during our opponent's turn to go into the hydrant. I mean, if you don't care about not being able to float back into turbulence, then it's fine. Like, if you just want to get all your stuff back into the deck and get an extra draw, that's totally justifiable. Of course, we'll set the contain here. So it's just kind of like, depending on if you want the gamble or not. I'd rather stick with a consistent play and just hold the HQ for some follow-up here, and just make it another unknown in your hand, so your opponent thinks you might be holding on to a hand trap or extra disruption. So with this, what this board basically means is that during your opponent's turn, basically like during the standby phase, you'd want to shotgun the rescue to be able to revive your hydrant here, so that way your back row is extra online. So you have your extra effects there, you can have protection, and then your preventer's Book of Moon is now live. And then once you use your preventer, what you can actually do is just link these off. Just use the IP during the main phase to be able to go into your Nightmare Unicorn here, which you can use if you want to be able to spin the HQ since you're going to get a draw for your turn. Or you can even go with the Lord if you want. If you think that your back row is safe or you've used your back row, then you can end up just pitching the Lord if you really wanted to. Be able to shuffle one of their cards back. And then with Preventer being sent to the graveyard, then you can special summon your Turbulence back to have 4 follow-up. So then when it comes back to your turn, you get the draw for the turn. And look at that, you just top deck into a Preventer because you're nice. So we'll say that we used all of our back row here just to keep all of our stuff safe. So we can go out into the HQ. We'll put these guys back to our deck here. This is just like to show you an example of what the follow-up's like if they didn't completely break your board or if you were able to stop them enough. I think we'll probably just want to go. So we put Emergency back. We don't really need Alert too much because we kind of have all of our stuff online here. Rescue's not bad. I think the big thing that we want to go for is just our Disruption again. So we'll put these guys back to the top of the deck. Shuffle it up here. And then go ahead and draw a card. Draw into the Impulse. That's not bad whatsoever. You still have plenty of stuff in here. And actually, since you have the Reinforce, you could even banish this to be able to set one of your 2 spells here. So you could even straight up banish this, and then if you want, just set the Alert, since you still have your, in theory, you'd still have your Hydrant on field, so you can use it to get 2 searches out of this. You have your Preventer to banish a card from the graveyard, put him back on field, get another Book of Moon, and just start link climbing and breaking the board and just doing all sorts of crazy shenanigans. This deck is really underrated. I think a lot of people are missing out on it. But anyways, that's all the combos I got for you guys today. I just want to show you a couple of quick ones. Be sure to test around with this deck and kind of mess around with it yourself. I will do an updated deck profile here pretty soon. I already have the deck put together. I'm just tweaking on some ratios and whatnot, and I'm just really excited to see how this performs post Dune. So until next time, guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. We definitely do a lot of stuff like this all the time, different deck profiles, combo tutorials, stuff like that. So be sure to stay tuned, and then we will catch you guys all in the next one. As always, remember, good fun. Have luck.